What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Today's project is this Honda lawnmower, and the problem is that it was stored last winter and now it's springtime and unfortunately it won't start. Let's take a good look at it, find out what's wrong with it, and hopefully we can fix it. In this video, we try and repair this mower. However, it may not be the exact repair you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. This is a fantastic mower with many great features. The best in my opinion is the plastic deck, but the problem is that it'll crack on you, but it usually takes years to do that. As long as you change the oil every year, the engine should outlast the deck. Speaking of oil, I better check its level just in case we get it running. I don't want to forget and hurt the engine. And it's a good thing too, since it looks like it's a few ounces low. I'll add a few ounces, check it again, and then we'll continue on with the troubleshooting. Another reason why your mower won't start is that the filter and the pre-filter might be clogged or even wet, which won't let air get into the engine. And as you can see, they aren't wet or dirty, so that's not our problem here. Now this engine is an overhead valve engine, and on rare occasions a problem will come up underneath the valve cover. This type of problem will result in little to no compression from the engine, which we need for it to run. The easiest way to test for compression is to slowly pull on the rope and feel for the engine to fight back. And fortunately, the engine is fighting back quite a bit. Now if yours is easy to pull, then remove the valve cover and inspect for a rocker arm or a push rod problem. The next thing I want to check for is spark using a spark checker. You can buy one of these online for a few dollars or borrow one from a mechanic. Just install it in line with the spark plug and then pull on the rope. On this mower, make sure you're not in the kill position, but the run position. On other mowers, you may have to hold down the safety bar on the handle while pulling the rope. I know it was hard to see on camera, but that small orange glow showed us that we do have spark. So the next thing I want to check is the gas in the tank. We need to drain it and check that it's not stale or has water in it. So this is the gas that came out of the tank, and it looks pretty good and does not smell stale, but looks can be deceiving. If we look from the top, it looks fine, but if we look from the side and give the jar a slight stir, we can see what looks like rippling at the bottom of the jar. That's the water, which is denser than gas, so it will go to the bottom of the tank while the gas will rise to the top. If it's still tough to see, try stirring it more and watch for it to cloud up, which it's not supposed to do. Now that we know that the gas has a problem, I still want to check to make sure that the engine still runs. I'm going to spray some starter fluid into the carburetor's throat and try starting it. Since I already removed most of the gas from the tank, we need to drain it from the lines and the carburetor bowl. The easiest way is to remove the drain bolt from the bowl and let gravity do the work. Once it's done draining, we'll replace the bolt and the air filter, put some gas in the tank, and then we'll try restarting it. Unfortunately, it ran but died soon after, so that means we have a carburetor problem. I really don't like working on this carburetor. The main reason is it's just a hassle getting it off the engine. Now we can't just slide the carburetor off the studs, we'll have to remove the studs first. The easiest way is to put both nuts on the stud, tighten them against each other, and then turn the one closer towards the engine. I'm going to remove the governor linkage and spring first just to get them out of the way. Unfortunately, it looks like this stud is on too tight and I don't want to damage it taking it off. Instead, I think we can get away with just removing the other one. With just this one stud removed, we can now pivot it to help move the choke linkage, and then we'll slide off the carburetor. Once the carburetor is off, we can then remove the bowl nut, followed by the bowl, and then we can remove the main jet out of the carburetor. You might have to find a very specific flathead screwdriver that fits perfectly, because if it's too narrow, it can damage the brass jet. If we try to look through the jet, you won't be able to, since it looks like it's clogged, so that is definitely our problem. To clear it, I'm going to use a thin piece of wire. Now, if you don't want to use wire, then use whatever you have available to clear the jet. Once the jet is clear, I'll reinstall it back into the carburetor, reassemble it, and then reinstall the carburetor back onto the engine. Reconnect the choke linkage first, followed by the fuel line, and then finally the governor linkage. Another reason why your mower might not start after winter storage is that ethanol gas was used and then left in the tank during that storage. Now, ethanol gas does not store well in equipment, and after it slowly evaporates, it leaves a chalk-like residue that will damage a carburetor. I normally run the tank dry before putting it up for winter, but some use treated gas and just fill the whole thing up. Now, if you don't have ethanol-free gas in your area, consider buying canned fuel from your local hardware store. It's stabilized fuel meant for small engines and not your car. Now, if that's not an option either, then consider using fuel stabilizer meant for ethanol gas. Now, this engine sounds extremely good for being as old as it is. It was definitely taken care of, and hopefully it'll last another 10 years. So my question, is it worth going through all this preparation for the end of the year storage, or have you never had a problem getting your mower running after winter storage? I know how I feel about it, but I'm more curious about your answer. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.